And you've gone so many years of just focusing on the kids, and all of your energy is poured into them. Sometimes if you don't pour it into your marriage, you find,
Mhm.
I mean, I think a lot of times, unfortunately, problems are brushed under the rug during the
Yes.
parenting years. And then when the kids are gone, all of a sudden, all those problems are so there in your face.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm Jody Silverman, and today we're hopping on the back of a tandem bike for a joyful ride through midlife with author and semi-retired speech language pathologist Linda Hanstra. Linda is the voice behind Empty-Nest Joyride, her latest book that reflects on the beauty, challenges, and surprises of this unique life stage. With 4 adult kids, 2 grandchildren, and a love of travel, faith, and biking, Linda brings a refreshing perspective on how to embrace the open road of the empty nest years. In our conversation, we chat about preparing for the empty nest before you arrive, navigating unexpected, quote, bumps in the road, unquote, in marriage, and how communication on the trail and in life can make all the difference. Whether you're already in the empty nest season or gearing up for it, this episode is filled with heart, wisdom, and some two-wheeled metaphors you won't forget. That was a hard one for me, two-wheeled metaphors. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you. That was
So,
great.
yeah, so glad to have you on Beyond Emptiness. I when you reached out to me, I really loved how you wrote this book using bike ride, your joy of bike riding and your love of bike riding,
Hmm.
metaphor for marriage, midlife, and embracing the open road. And that's what it's called. It's called the Empty Nest Joyride.
That's right.
Marriage, midlife, and embracing the open road. And that's
The
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 what?
subtitle, the
Oh,
subtitle is Hope, Love, and Purpose on the Road to Contentment.
oh, there you go.
So,
So sorry.
no, that's okay. I liked yours too. Maybe I should have changed it to you. I had such a hard time choosing a subtitle. So,
Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. Look, you wrote the book, it's published, that's a good thing. So
yes.
the link to the book is below, and we'll dive into our talking points, which are all metaphors from your book that you've learned through life and that can help us with marriage, midlife, and embracing the open road and love and joy and all of that. So before we
Right.
dive into that, how did you end up? Because this isn't your first rodeo with a book.
That's right.
So how does a semi-retired speech language pathologist become an author?
Well, that kind of goes back over 10 years ago. I had always just kind of written little family journals, some of them online, mostly vacation journals. And my daughter got very sick. She had scoliosis, needed a spinal fusion surgery, and afterwards wasn't recovering. Ended up we found out she had type 1 diabetes. So that sent us into a whole new realm of life. And
Yes.
she was 16 at the time. And I just was trying to communicate with so many people at the same time that I ended up just starting a blog to let people know where we were and what was going on. Family, friends, it was just something I shared with maybe on Facebook, which was a lot different 10 years ago than it is now. And I started getting feedback from people about my writing and saying, wow, I love what you're writing. And this is so hard. This is so good. And so just hearing some, encouragement from others kind of made me think, well, maybe I should do a little more writing. And so I continued to write. First, it was all about type 1 diabetes. Then it sort of evolved into parenting and just our life. And when my youngest moved away for school, I I thought, well, what am I going to do now? I have a little more extra time. Maybe I'll do a little bit more with writing. So I took an online writing class with a friend of mine, and it just sort of one thing led to another. I started more seriously blogging, and then I did write I started this book, The Empty-Nest Joyride, back in 2017,
Oh,
but
wow.
kind of put it on the back burner for a while. Well, no, it wasn't. I guess it was a couple years later, but the idea happened like in 2017, right before we became empty nesters. Um, but in the meantime, I kind of put it on the back burner and wrote a smaller book. It was a devotional that for people to use during the season of Lent. So that one I published in 2023. And then I was like, am I going to ever finish this Joyride book or not?
Oh, you did.
And finally did it. Yes. So that's where I'm at.
I love that. I love that. Why biking?
Well, my husband and I, we biked a lot when we were first married. Then we put that on hold with four kids.
Wow.
Biking is kind of difficult until, they were all driving and like late high school years with the youngest, we started thinking about doing more biking. He especially, he's way more into it than I am. I try to tag along.
I love
And so yeah, we just started biking more and getting into it. And then when I was biking and riding, the metaphors started just kind of popping into my head as I would ride.
I love that. I love that. I have to tell you, it's one of the dares. It's one of the way when most of the women come and find my website and they want to, and they're looking for, the answer to who am I? What do I do now? And where do I
Hmm.
begin? I always say, start with a list of things you used to enjoy doing. And
Yes,
bikes is one of those things where it's very freeing. You can cover more territory than walking. It's easier on your knees, by the way.
right.
So,
And
okay.
we found that, we've done a lot of organized rides, and it's amazing how many people are in our age range at these rides. I mean, or older, like 80-year-olds out there riding these long organized rides. And
Oh, I love
it's just it's amazing. Yeah. Because it is. It's easy on the joints, but it's good for you in so many different ways. So, yeah.
Love that. So I want to talk about some of the metaphors from your book that you discover through finding the joy of riding bikes again and how that does relate to joy
Hmm.
in our life and marriage and empty nest. Um, so what we'll pick one to start with. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, I think the one you always should be starting with is training, right?
Yes.
So, um, when I go out riding in the spring, if I haven't been on my trainer, like this past winter, uh,
Yes.
that first ride in the spring is tough, and it's just a lot easier if I have been getting on the bike and in the basement. We put it on a trainer. We
Yep.
live in Michigan, so you can't really bike outside very well in the
You.
winter.
You.
And we, yeah, if we train during the winter, that first ride is not really that hard. And I think the same goes for empty nesting. Like the more you prepare for being just the two of you again, the easier that transition is going to be.
Yeah. It's
There's
training for it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that we did that over the years. I mean, of course, date nights is a common thing. Everyone says, "Oh, you should always go on a date with your spouse. Keep that,
Yes.
in your life." But we did other things as well. We would, if your parents live nearby, we ours weren't too far away. It was far enough away that the kids could go for a weekend or even a week in the summer, and we had kid-free time at home, which was a real glimpse into the future of empty nesting and what's it going to be like when it's just the two of us all the time at the dinner table.
Yeah.
So that was something that we really enjoyed. We also would take weekend getaways, especially like around our anniversary,
Mhm.
bigger vacations at times, where it was just the two of us. Anything to spark that why did we ever get together in the first place? The
That's a
love that
good
we had.
question. That's
Yeah,
and some people are left some women and men probably too are left wondering when the kids leave, like who are you? And
right.
when did you get here?
Right.
So
And you've gone so many years of just focusing on the kids and all of your energy is poured into them. Sometimes if you don't pour it into your marriage, you find
Mhm.
I mean, I think a lot of times, unfortunately, problems are brushed under the rug during the
Yes.
parenting years. And then when the kids are gone, all of a sudden, all those problems are so there in your face. And so, we also did some marriage retreats, seminars. Um, and if things get really bad, not even really bad. Counseling in general is great for good, strong marriages and for
Yes.
marriages that are in trouble. Um,
I
we
agree.
did. Did you have Jill Savage recently on
Yes.
your podcast?
Jill Savage. Yes.
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 So we went
Midlife
to
marriages.
yes, and my husband and I went to her and Mark's empty nest retreat, marriage retreat, a couple years ago. It was so fun. It was a great time to think like, okay, our marriage is changing, and now what skills do we need, or what things do we need to remind ourselves of that maybe we've kind of let slide?
I like that. And I like
Yeah.
how you said that a marriage retreat or counseling in any shape or form is not just reserved for marriages in trouble.
No.
You could have forgotten how to communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, to have a third party there to kind of be the moderator, so to speak, and to help guide, difficult conversations or things that you perceive as difficult that really aren't, but we make up stories in our head. I think that's a
Right.
really good way because we do forget to how to communicate with each other. But I really
Mm-hmm.
like the winter training. And you
Yeah.
want to train for the big, you can't always train for all things. Not everything is expected. We're going to get to the expected, the unexpected,
Yeah.
too, because you have that one. But winter training and preparing, that's the
Mm-hmm.
message of the first metaphor is that um, you can put side date night. You can put a couple time. And for you alone, you can start looking into a side hobby just for yourself. I think it's just as important for couples to figure out how to enjoy being together. I think it's also important for couples to have something of their own if that works for them. I do think
Definitely.
that my husband's golf, I'm tennis, but yet
Mm-hmm.
we do enjoy our time together. So I love
Right.
that, kid time at home in your house, free time without the kids in your home.
Right.
That's important too. So yeah, send them off to grandma and grandpa if you can. Send them off to 2 weeks of a camp experience in the summer if you can. So
Mm-hmm.
we got a taste of my son wanted to go to overnight camp so badly, and it was for 8 weeks in the summer. 8 weeks.
Wow.
8 weeks at 10 years old. He was begging me. It's
Oh.
it's really it really overnight camp is deep within the Jewish culture. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. And boy, was it great for him. But I'm going to tell you, by that 4 week mark, I'm like, give me my son back.
Oh,
Now,
that's a
we did
long
have
time at that
we did
age.
have visiting day, but it's a really long time. So we got hit.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was around, but you still got a sense of what it could be like as everyone
Mm-hmm.
left. So, okay. So prepare for the empty nest with training, just like you would train for a bike ride. That's we're using the bike metaphor. Same thing. You're not just going to go out tomorrow and run 5 miles. You're not
Right.
going to go out tomorrow and bike 10 miles.
Right.
You can, but you're going to be in serious bad shape when you.
Right. In my book, I talk about that, how we went out on a very beautiful spring day and it just felt so great. I'm like, hey, and it was our anniversary. So I'm like, let's ride. It was our 28th. Let's ride 28 miles for our 28
Oh,
years. No, I did not make it.
that sounds good in theory. No.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like I hadn't trained for it. And I was so disappointed in myself because the previous summer I had been riding that many miles, but that was at the end of the summer, or the middle. It was not the very first ride. You
Yeah.
have to be ready. You have to get ready for any,
Mental
big
and
that
physically.
exactly.
Mental and
Right.
physical. So same goes for
Yes.
your life. Same goes for
Hmm.
emptiness. Same goes for any transition. Retirement, you're semi-retired. You have to do a little
Right.
training to prepare. The thought, so many people talk about this, Linda. I'm curious your take on it. So many people talk about retirement and glorify it. And yet, if you don't have a plan or kind of a plan, it can really backfire and leave you feeling
Right.
down, disconnected, depressed. You can bring on depressive episodes because
Hmm.
everybody needs a reason to get up and out of bed in the morning.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried full retirement for about a year and a half. And I mean, I wasn't fully retired in that I was still writing on the side, but I
right.
wasn't working and bringing in anything for our family. And then an opportunity just came up that, we both saw it would be advantageous for us in many ways. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I work part time now virtually. It's very nice. I don't have to um,
Ah,
get out the door in the morning, so I can
no,
kind of take it
you
very
tried.
flexible. Yeah.
You have to do a little training for it all, prepare training. All right.
Right.
You do say expect the unexpected.
Hmm.
Talk us through that metaphor in Empty Nest Joyride.
Well, that's the opening of the book, and I don't want to give too much away, but
Okay,
three
give us a
weeks
little bit.
before, 3 weeks before we became empty nesters, my husband had a serious bicycle accident,
Oh,
and it was not expected. We were like had all these plans what we were going to do after we dropped that final kid off at school. We were going to do an organized ride. We were going to take our time coming home from Minnesota, driving through Wisconsin. There was a ride that we were going to join. And just all these other dreams of all the freedom we were going to have. Instead, we spent the first months of our empty nest time with him in therapy.
oh,
He, yeah,
uh,
he's since recovered. But it was a scary time, and it was also like, ooh, I guess we have to be kind of flexible at this point in our lives.
and I guess that's what expect the unexpected is. You can't really prepare for the unexpected.
Right,
You can give yourself the mindset that this is what we're going to do, and then understand that life might have other plans. So be prepared to pivot, to shift,
right,
and not completely freak out.
right. And I mean, unexpected things can happen at any time in your life, but
Yes,
it seems like in midlife, we've had more of those things,
I know.
I think it's because we are aging. We're not as nimble as we used to be. So a fall is going to possibly
Oh, yeah.
result in a broken bone more easily. Um, recovery takes longer. And you also have that sandwich generation thing where your
Yes.
parents suddenly something happens to one of them that can send your lives into turmoil, tailspin,
Yeah. No, it does.
um, or your kids all of a sudden call you with, their trouble. They have car trouble or
Or
they're
maybe they need to come
sick
home
or,
unexpectedly. Maybe they're not
right,
doing so great in school and they need to come home. They ask
right,
you bring them home. Or COVID. COVID was
right.
a big one.
Yes,
All of a sudden,
exactly.
houses were full.
Hmm.
Families were full nests again.
Right,
And I'll
right.
tell you, it was really hard for a lot of kids and difficult for the parents too. And then after it settled, there was such a gift of having your
Hmm.
family back together again.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes,
but I know I like how you say, yeah, there's bumps in the road, right?
right.
A bump
And
in
you
the
just have to
road.
be ready to change your course, go around them, find other solutions. And I think going through those unexpected bumps in the road, you end up finding skills or gifts you didn't know you
Yes.
had, or you develop new skills.
Yeah.
For instance, my mom had, and when my parents were in their 80s, my mom had Alzheimer's. My dad was her primary caregiver, and in July, beautiful summer day in 2020, my dad fell and hit his head and had a brain bleed, and he lost his life was over that day. And so yeah, it was shocking to me and my siblings. We spent time, planning his funeral, but at the same time, what are we going to do about mom? All of a sudden, we needed to find caregiver for her. um, anyway, going through all of that, I found like sort of my niche was helping with a lot of the organizational stuff. I'm a spreadsheet queen, so I made a spreadsheet of doctors and phone numbers and medicines and dosages,
Yeah.
and um, I also was helpful in learning about all of the long-term care insurance. And so all of these skills that I didn't know anything about, you are forced to learn them. When you're put in a new situation, you're just forced to do something that maybe you didn't ever know you could do before.
So you hit a bump in the road and you pivot and you become more aware and learn something new about yourself in the process.
Right. Yep.
Oh God, I like that. Okay. And then we talk about, well, and that kind of leads into this because when you hit bumps in the road and during winter training, I think they all lead to this third one where it's all about communication. Like how
That's right.
communication is key throughout your whole life. How you communicate at work, how you communicate with your kids, how you communicate with your partner, your girlfriends, your everybody. Communicate
Hmm.
key. And you liken that to when you're riding a bike to signaling on and off the trail. So talk us through a little
Right.
bit about that metaphor.
Right. So, well, when you're on the trail, it's really important when you're riding together with someone else or even by yourself. You have to, you learned when you were a kid how to signal to the car, which
Yes.
behind you, which way you were turning at the intersection. Um, and with my husband, when we're riding together, we have a lot of signals. We say car back, if there's a car coming behind us, or we wave our hand to show that there's some debris on the road or something that could be
Coming up
dangerous.
on your left. You say that's it.
Right. On
Coming
your
up on your
left.
left, on your
Right.
left. Right.
Yes. So all of those signals are important. And we learned that the hard way. I mean, well, we knew it already, but you still are not always perfect, right? Just like any other kind of
Oh,
communication. So there was a time where we went for a little bike ride to bring some forms that our daughters had forgot at home. They were at band camp, marching band camp at the end of the summer. And so we were running our bikes over to school to drop off the forms. And as we went by the parking lot where they practice, although they were all inside at that point, the I pointed out to my husband, I said, look there's the new director's tower. And he thought I meant, let's go look at the new director's tower. So he turned like right in front of me. I was not expecting it. I was looking at toward the parking lot. And when I looked back, he was like right in my path. And so I tried to dodge to miss him and I ended up wiping out.
oh no.
And of course, not thinking, put my arm out to catch myself and ended up tearing my rotator cuff.
Oh,
So bad signals lead to accidents, they lead to hurt, they lead to a lot of things in a marriage as well. So, if we're not careful in our communication, we make assumptions. Those assumptions can lead to hurt feelings, they can lead to um, miscommunication.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true. I love that. Bad signaling can lead, or inaccurate signaling can lead to dangerous situations, miscommunications, relationships falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, and you said my favorite thing, assume nothing, clarify everything.
Mm-hmm.
Assume nothing.
Yes.
And I do this a lot with my kids when I don't hear from my son as often as I would like to hear from my son. I'll call him and I'll say, okay, so right now I'm assuming that we haven't spoken because you don't want to speak to me or this is going on. He's like, yeah, that's not a thing, Mom. I'm like, okay, but at least I tell him it's a Brene Brown thing.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about the communication with her. She would make up stories. And so now she and her husband
Right.
have this code, this signaling. So the
Mm-hmm.
story I'm telling myself is, and the other person says, yeah, no, that's not true. Instead of letting it
Right.
really eat you up inside. So, you know, you got to win a train, got to train for a season. You got to prepare, right? Winter training
Mm-hmm.
is all about preparing.
Right.
There's going to be bumps in the. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No,
Oh,
no, go ahead.
there's going to be bumps in the road, and you can't always know when that bump is going to be there. But part of winter training is being prepared for when bumps come to be flexible, adaptable, and resilient, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then signaling. How do you communicate? I love
Right.
that you said a wrong or a bad signal can lead to, a catastrophic event, a breakup of a marriage, a relationship, your, hurt feelings and all that. So I love,
Right.
love, love. I cannot wait to read this book. I love because I haven't got my copy yet, but I'm getting it now that it's out because it just came out a couple weeks ago.
Right.
But I love everything about how you used writing and you used your love of biking as the metaphor and the foundation for life, for living a good life, for living a life of joy. Read your tagline again, Empty Nest Joyride.
Hope, love, and purpose on the road to contentment.
I love it. I just love it.
Thank you.
Before we get into our dare, is there anything you want to leave, any parting messages or anything, or are we going right to the dare for the audience?
Well, the dare kind of leads into maybe the other thing that
That's true.
I
That's true.
wanted to
Okay, so
say.
let's do because I
So
love this too. I love when we met, I loved everything. So your dare is
I want to dare couples who are either looking toward the empty nest or already in it to make more of an effort to date each other, to do a lot of unique times together, do new things together to build up your relationship as a couple. And this actually can apply to single empty nesters as well, maybe getting together with a friend
Yep.
or another family member. I have uh,
A resource you do.
thank you.
You
I have
do.
a
It's
resource,
a great resource. The link for the resource is below. This is
right?
fun. This is right up
Resource.
my idea for daring.
So the resource on my website is a DIY date night jar. And for those watching on
Yep,
video, I'm kind of holding it up.
you
It
are.
says time for us on the top. All the little pieces, parts, except for the jar, are in the digital download. And in it are 52 unique ideas of date nights um, that are seasonal. So some of them maybe they're color coded. So if you know it's wintertime, you're not going to pull out go sit at the beach or something. Um, you can pull out a one that is for winter time. And I think there's some really fun ideas in there. There's things like wander through a thrift store together or browse a local arts fair or art show. Recreate your first date. Um, Another one that I really like is there's some cozy stay at home dates. So one of them is to stay home and do a jigsaw puzzle. Another
Okay.
one is to look through family scrapbooks together.
That's fun because that brings back memories and you might even bring
Yes.
back some additional ideas,
Right.
things that
Right.
you like to do.
Yeah. So
I
there are
love
lots of
that.
fun ones in there. I won't name all 52, but just enough to sort of
Yeah.
tempt you into checking it out. So,
So use the link below to grab this free resource. It's going to have
hmm
52 dares, date night ideas, unique experiences that you can
hmm
do with a girlfriend or your girlfriends, or you could do it with your spouse and partner. And instructions on how to print them,
hmm
put them together in your own jar. Just grab a mason jar, go to the dollar store,
And
grab.
if you don't want to bother with all the jar, there's just a nice checklist. You could just print off the checklist.
Oh yeah, but I think put it in a
The
fishbowl.
jar is fun.
Or even a fishbowl just to pull it out.
Right.
I love that. I love that. That's like, oh my God, you've inspired me so much to like come up with something too for my Moms Who Dare group. But so you have the link to the book. We have a link to your DIY date night idea jar.
hmm
And I think that's enough. I think
All
that's enough.
right.
I really do. I'm so happy that we met. I'm so happy you agreed to be part of the Beyond Empty Nest show. I know that this episode, this was fun. I like metaphors and how they relate to life, and I really love your use of them. So thank you so much, Linda.
Well, thank you. It's been a really fun time. I really had looked forward to talking with you. I just enjoy listening to your show so much. So
Oh,
I'm glad that we had a chance to do this together.
yes. So thank you everybody for being part of our Beyond Empty Nest audience. What was your takeaway? Which metaphor, winter training, watch out for bumps in the road, signaling, giving good signals on and off the trail, which one really hit you like, that's what I have to begin doing, or that's what I'm going to start doing today. Download your jar. Let us know what your date night idea, which one you choose to do. We always want to hear from you. And don't forget, the next week, we'll be back with another brand new episode of Beyond Empty Nest. And as I always say, dare on. If you've enjoyed this episode of Beyond Empty Nest, head over to jodysilverman.com for full show notes and resources. But wait, before you leave, I have a question. Are you happy in midlife? Take the Midlife Happiness Quiz today and discover your personal happiness score. Not only will you uncover where you stand on the midlife happiness scale, you'll also get 2 free tools to help raise it even during difficult and challenging times, leaving you feeling confident and happy from the inside out. It's time to shift your mindset from victim to victor and start boosting your happiness today. Ready to unlock your next chapter of joy? Click the link in our show notes to get started now, because happiness is an inside job and you deserve to feel happy. Dare on.